Yo, what is going on, guys? Got a video here today from The Wall for you. Looks like we got another modern mother trying to get out of a DNA test, and it's a real shocker when you find out why. Today's video was suggested to me by Matrix of Madness. I'm going to leave both of their channels linked in the pinned comments, so make sure you go and subscribe to these guys. Don't forget to leave your own comments, and let's jump right into the video.
This is me. As a 31-year-old woman with no work done besides slip injections 3 years ago. I still don't get why people are so pressed about my TikTok saying 30s are the new 20s. I personally feel like I look better and am just all around better in my 30s than I was in my 20s. So here's what I look like day to day as a woman in my 30s.
The only women that think 30 is the new 20 are single women who refuse to accept their bad choices in life. They spend way too much money to look as artificial as possible, and then they expect men to take them as they are while providing that man nothing but grief.
So it gets better. If you take care of yourself and view yourself as an investment, every single decade is going to get better and better and better.
Modern women refuse to accept that they are living on borrowed time. It is a known fact that they only have so much time to get a man that they actually really desire, and they squander every single opportunity. Then they try to convince themselves that they are not running out of time.
So I just got a major update on some drama that I thought you guys might be interested in, and I would like to share. So I live in a very small town, and word gets around, okay? So there's a husband and a wife, okay? They get married, have a bunch of babies, buy a house, living the dream, right? They are loving life. Well, the husband catches the wife having an affair, okay? And he's like, not cool, right? He's pissed. Anybody would be. And he says, like, you better cut him off, knock it off right now, or we're getting a divorce. And she goes, okay.
If a man is married and he finds out his wife is having an affair, the only course of action that he should take is a divorce, because there's literally zero excuse for his wife to betray him like that. She makes it clear that she has no respect for him, so it's best to just leave and be done with the whole situation.
I promise. I will cut him off. We're done. We're not the same anymore. He goes, okay, cool. Well, a couple of months later, she's like, hey, I want to go out and drink with my friends, We're going out. We're going to have a girls' night at this bar. And he's like, a little unsure, because of everything that just happened. He's like, I don't know if I necessarily trust you, but I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt. Okay, go have fun with your friend, right? So he falls asleep on the couch. Around 1 a.m, he gets a phone call. So he wakes up, answers it, and it's his wife. She's freaking out. She's crying, bawling her eyes out, like, you need to come pick me up right now.
Let's get this straight. This man's wife cheats on him. He forgives her for whatever reason. And now she wants to go and have a girls' night with her friends. And even though he doesn't trust her, he says it's fine for her to go out. She knows she's living with a doormat, so whatever she's doing, she's straight up lying.
I need you to get here, like, immediately. He's like, oh my God, what's going on? She's like, just get here, just get here. So he goes to the bar, picks her up. And, her face is, makeup's running, eyes blotchy, crying, like, really freaking out. And he's like, what the heck is going on? Like, I don't understand, like, why you're freaking out as much as you are. And she's like, I just had a fight with my friends. Like, I really need to get home. Like, things are just not good. I'm not having a good night. Just please bring me home. He's like, wow, okay, let's go home.
If I were that guy, I would be incredibly skeptical of this. She's being vague about what happened while also screaming and crying. Something is definitely wrong with this picture. That's why the husband never should have given her a second chance. She probably cheated on him.
So they go home. A couple hours later, like 3 a.m, he hears this boom, 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 boom. And he's like, what the heck? On his door, they're home. He's like, what the heck? So he goes downstairs and opens the door, and there's another lady standing in the doorway, and he's like, who are you? And she's like, yeah, hi. I'm the wife of the husband that your wife was having an affair with. He's like,
oh, hell no!
Once unfaithful, always unfaithful. Brothers, as men, the only thing we ever ask from a woman is loyalty and exclusivity.
If these women refuse to understand, it's the fact that men value trust and loyalty, and this woman took both for granted. She not only violated his trust, but has gone out of her way to make his life miserable. This is just embarrassing for the poor guy.
That's why we marry her, even knowing we're entering a deal with the devil where we could lose everything just to secure exclusivity with that woman. The worst thing about forgiving a woman is when there's no system of consequences. If there are no repercussions, the person doesn't learn their lesson. They just get a scolding and go right back to their old ways once things cool down. Another red flag is those so-called girls' night outs, which often turn out to be an excuse to meet another man.
If a woman has made herself exclusive to one guy, then she shouldn't be going out on girls' nights. When you have a massive group of emotionally unsatisfied modern women dressed promiscuously and drinking dangerous amounts of alcohol, they are going to make a bad decision that you will end up having to pay for.
Look at how she came crying to manipulate her husband, claiming she had a problem. Just like she did with him, many women do the same to their husbands. You see your wife suffering, and you ask yourself, where is all this pain coming from? Brother, she's not hurting because of you. She's hurting because of someone else. But let's continue. This is where the video gets good.
What? And she goes, yeah. Did you know I caught them this afternoon? I caught her in my bed with my husband, and I chased her out of my apartment.
Forgiving a cheater and keeping her in your life is such a terrible idea. They want a quote-unquote second chance to make things right, apparently, but they do nothing except make things worse. This is why continuing a relationship with a cheater is so pointless. You are better off with someone who's going to actually treat you with respect, or failing that, just better off by yourself.
His apartment is right down the street from the bar. So the cogs in his brain are spinning. He's like, oh my gosh, that's where she was. And that's why she was crying and freaking out. She got caught and got chased out of the apartment, calls me, and that's why she's freaking out. He's like, well, what? Like, oh my God, right? And she goes, I'm just here to tell you about her pregnancy because I just found out about this whole situation, found out that my husband's cheating. I just found out that she's pregnant, and I just found out that you don't know about it.
Damn!
This man has been emasculated more times than any man deserves, and to add insult to injury, he finds out that his wife is very much likely pregnant with another man's child, which means they were being careless with contraception. How much lower can this woman get?
So I wanted to let you know. He goes, thank you very much. Shuts the door, right? Confronts his wife. She's like, nope, 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 nope. It wasn't me. I didn't do it. Like, I'm not pregnant. I promise. Like, I swear to God. Well, come to find out, she was pregnant. And it wasn't her husband. So they get a divorce, right? So she gets together with the guy she's having an affair with. You know, all couples are divorced and separated at this point. So she had a baby a couple months ago. And
it took that man way too much humiliation before filing for divorce. That woman was treating him like complete garbage and would have most likely been okay for her husband to unknowingly raise that child as his own. It wasn't until she got caught that she was willing to confess to anything.
It's been on Facebook, you know, congratulations, it's a little weird, like, you know, happy they're having a baby's a blessing, whatever. Can't change having a baby, right? Like, he's here. The husband, the guy that she's having an affair with, says, I don't think this is my baby. He doesn't look like me. I just have this feeling this isn't my baby. So they get a DNA test. And this is all new information. This is the information I'm finding out today. All that other stuff I just told you, old information. Happened like last year, right?
DNA tests should absolutely not be stigmatized. In today's day and age when hookup culture is so common, men should have the right to a DNA test in order to protect themselves, especially since irresponsible behavior is practically celebrated by these women these days. It shouldn't be that big of a deal in order to get one.
Come to find out, it's not his baby. It's not her ex-husband's baby either. There's a third party out there that has fathered this child, and we don't know about it yet. So, when I get an update, I will be vigilantly checking Facebook. I will let you all know. And we can figure this out together.
God damn it! You can't make this shit up!
Brother, we can't make this stuff up. Once unfaithful, always unfaithful.
There is only one reason why women like these get married in the first place. They want to find a man that they don't respect to pay for them while having bedroom fun with the men that they do want. Marriage is such a risky move for reasons just like this. It's really no wonder why men do not want to get married anymore.
This situation makes a few things clear. First, she cheated on her husband with more than one man. and she's one of those women who don't even take precautions. The second point is why every man insists that DNA testing should be mandatory. Women like this are sleeping around recklessly, not protecting themselves, and they don't even know who the father of their children is. Her ex-husband should also get DNA tests for the kids they have, because there might be another surprise waiting for him.
We're starting to see more and more stories of fathers of grown children finding out that their children aren't even theirs. Imagine dedicating your life to these kids, making sacrifices and moving mountains to guarantee their futures, only to find out in the first place that they were never yours. The longer it takes for him to find out, the more painful it is going to be.
That's why, when I hear a woman getting offended because a man asks for a DNA test, claiming it's a lack of trust, I have to point out that many men who've been duped into raising children that aren't theirs thought they were happily married. So don't come at me with that story. The truth is, responsibility is kryptonite for some women. We have to face the times we live in. Women today are worse than men in many ways. Now we see that the new man she cheated on her husband with was just another name on her list. Honestly, if I were him, I'd also get myself tested to make sure she didn't pass me some disease.
It's kind of frightening to know that there are women out there who are passing around all sorts of infection during their bedroom exploits. It's kind of scary how prevalent this irresponsible behavior really is. You would think that these women would know better, but that's just not really possible for them.
Brothers, this man did everything right. A family man, and look how he was betrayed. Never forgive an unfaithful woman unless you're prepared to put her under strict consequences, because if not, this is how you'll end up.
I absolutely went into marriage knowing I was going to become a divorcee. There was no question in my mind. I knew at some point we would get divorced. The only question mark was when.
If you're entering into a marriage knowing it was going to end in divorce, then that proves two things. The first is that you're not willing to lift a finger to try and change that. And second, you see men as commodities and service dispensers, not as actual human beings.
I thought, when I'm 40, maybe I'd get that title. Maybe then I'd earn it, 10 years down the track. Because I think 10 years in a marriage, that's a pretty good innings in this day and age. That's like a good run. Turns out it was just 3. In the end, that's all we kind of reached our limit with. But, still got the title in the end. And obviously, I don't want to get married ever again. However, double divorcee is a term that I'm living for. Like, that is kind.
Marriage means nothing to these women, guys. They want the status, they want the titles, and they want the trinkets. But at the end of the day, her husband means nothing to her. Everything that he does for her is in vain. She won't respect him and only sees him for what she can use. It is rather sad.
So let me get this straight. You really went into a marriage knowing damn well you didn't want to marry this man. You didn't think it was going to be long term, and you still sat up at the altar and said, I do. And you don't think that that's disgusting behavior to lie to somebody, to manipulate somebody, to look them in the eyes and say forever and not mean it? And the amount of women in her comment section that are basically saying that they're in the same situation and they're waiting until the 10-year mark to get whatever they can out of their husbands, which means they're lying to their husbands every single day for however many years.
In their eyes, they don't really see it as lying. They've tricked themselves into thinking that they've done everything they can to save the marriage, and despite their quote-unquote best efforts, or clear lack thereof, the marriage is ruined. The vows they swore to these men were absolutely worthless. They have no problem using these men and still feel like a victim.
And then you expected to play this long game, expecting it to last 10 years, even though it only lasted 3, which means you'd be lying to him for the next 10 years, and you don't see that as a problem. In fact, you think it's funny, like it's a flex that you're going to be a double divorcee. And just imagine for a moment a man came on this app and spewed all this nonsense about using his wife just for the title. Let's be so for real. We all know how this goes. These women get on the dating scene and they get treated the exact same way that they treated the men in their relationships or in their marriages, and they can't handle it.
She really brings up a good point. Women using men for their resources is seen as empowering and brave, but if a man says the exact same thing, he will be shamed for quote-unquote using women. It's a double standard, guys, that they love to throw in our faces.
And then they get online and cry, where did all the good men go, even though they're basically breaking down and destroying all of the good men in the process. So they just perpetuate this same fucking toxic cycle and then blame all men. Like, since when is it cute to basically become an escort if you're marrying a man for money?
Some of y'all need to stop using men and marriages as an ego boost and just fucking get yourself into therapy. But
therapy honestly couldn't help these women one bit. They're not interested in working through their issues and becoming better people. They say this all the time, but it really is just nonsense. They just want to dump their issues on a guy so that she can rob him blind in the form of alimony.
Don't cry about all the men that don't want you, want nothing to do with you. And when you find a good man and he doesn't want you because you've been ran through, I don't want to hear any shit about all men are trash if you're perpetuating the cycle to creating all the men that are essentially trash by treating them like shit in the first place. Okay, bye.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
Do you think she's the only one who does this? Many women see marriage as nothing more than financial security.
Women also view marriage as the storybook ending. They get married and think that is the ultimate end game, but what they don't do is work to keep the marriage actually going. They view their husband as the man to deliver her happiness 24/7, and the second that that doesn't happen, well, she divorces him.
That's why I always say that, on the wedding day, only the man gets married for love. The woman does it for a lifestyle. Only a man in love is foolish enough to enter a contract where he risks losing 50% of his assets, but he still does it. In the past, marriage had meaning. Nowadays, women get married for the title of wife, the big wedding, and the ring. Now, this same woman can proudly say, "I'm a divorcee."
It's crazy to me, man, how divorced women wear the title of divorced as if it's some sort of badge of honor. Even though there is nothing stunning and brave about a modern divorce, we see it all of the time. These women want recognition for destroying their family as if it was some form of heroism that had to be done.
This is the reality young men face today. The insecurity of giving everything to someone who is only in it for their own benefit. That's why marriage is in freefall these days. Because it's not worth being with someone who, from the beginning, is already planning how it will end. We have an update on this story. The unfaithful woman who ended up pregnant. Let's see how it all turned out.
Everybody knows that if you walk into something just assuming that you're going to lose and everything is going to fall apart, this is just falling victim to a self-fulfilling prophecy. But these women will do it anyway because the wedding reception really means more to them than the feelings of her husband.
So we just found out that Dawn is not the biological father of Jane's baby, and neither is her husband, ex-husband, John. So there's a random mystery baby daddy out there. And now, understandably, right after this happened, John had kind of a bit of a mental breakdown. John and Jane have 2 kids together, a boy and a girl, and now Jane has her son, who's, I think, 3 or 4 months old. Anyways, so John had kind of like a mental breakdown. Like, truly, it was really sad to see.
How can we blame this man for having a breakdown? He's now having to deal with the distinct possibility that his children might not be his own. What kind of a woman would do that to a loyal dude? This kind of stuff can scar a man for life.
Kind of the stuff that he was posting on Facebook, you could just kind of see it, that he just was not doing okay. He wasn't in his, he wasn't in a good frame of mind. And he also ended up drinking a lot, which is really unfortunate. And he got a couple DUIs and got his license taken away and lost custody of the kids. So she has custody of their 2 kids right now. And I'm not really sure what's going on with him after that, but that's the last I've heard about John.
This is why you have to be really careful around alcohol, especially during times like this. This man has been dealt worse and worse hands, and the drinking did him no favors. Hopefully this man will make a recovery. He honestly should be in a better situation than this.
So now Dawn and Donetta don't have any kids together. So when they got divorced, it wasn't really that big of a deal. Donetta kind of went her own way, and Dawn and Jane kind of did their own thing. Donetta is actually doing very well for herself. She found herself a new man, and she is killing it, slaying it, being a big badass boss queen. But she did like the post, which I thought was a little strange, because I feel like if I were to find my boyfriend cheating and find out that he got another girl pregnant, we wouldn't be friends on Facebook.
Social media has created one of the largest cases of female collective brain rot. These women live their entire lives on social media to the point where a simple like needs to be scrutinized as if it were a clue in a murder mystery.
Right? I don't know. I thought it was just a little weird that she liked the post. So maybe she knew. Maybe this isn't the, this isn't the debut of this information. This is the debut for everyone else. But maybe other people have known for a while. I'm not 100% sure. But I'm sure it will come out because Jane
Keeps no secret.
The only one who came out winning here was Danetta, who did what John should have done from the start: leave the unfaithful partner.
There's no sense keeping a relationship going if your significant other is not going to be faithful to you. There's no sense giving second chances or anything like that. Once she violates your trust, she needs to be gone from your life.
Look at how she moved on with her life. John, on the other hand, destroyed his own life. It's painful to see how a man who does everything right ends up ruined because of a woman. This man gave her a second chance after the immense pain caused by her first betrayal. She didn't care. She did it again. I want you to notice here how women are emotional beings. They make decisions based on how they feel, even if it's selfish, always prioritizing themselves.
What's worse is that women believe that their feelings are more important than basic facts. All she has to do is feel something, and then all of a sudden it's the rest of the planet that's wrong. These women are truly delusional.
When she cheated on John the first time, she knew the damage it would cause to her family, the pain it would bring her husband and children. Yet she did it again. Now, she's even pregnant. Did she care about destroying her children's future? No. Did she care about mentally breaking her husband? Even less.
That's the thing about these women. They don't care about the man's feelings. All they care about are their own. They care about their own fun and pleasure and couldn't care less about anyone else who is in the picture.
Now the children see their father drowning his sorrows in alcohol while she's busy trying to figure out who the father of her child is. Listen carefully. Never forgive an unfaithful partner. Be like Danetta. Move on. It will always be better than staying.
Ain't it funny when you stop talking to a man because he is simply doing everything other than treating you right? Not taking you serious, playing with your time, not even taking you out on a date?
We already know this woman is not telling the whole story. We all know that she was in a situationship and wanted more than what that man was willing to give. They chase these guys all the time and then blame us for the things that went wrong.
Soon as you dub him, and it's been a couple weeks of you not contacting him, there he comes, strolling right back in, trying to act like he changed. All of a sudden, now he's trying to take you out. Now he's trying to show you that you mean something to him. And the only reason why he's doing that is because you're paying him no mind anymore. And he realized he officially lost you. So do not fall for it. He knows what he's doing, so I hope you know what he's doing.
I find it awfully interesting how these women will do the exact same thing to a dude, and when they do it, it's a spiritual healing journey. But when a man does it, it suddenly becomes an unforgivable sin.
Because soon as you allow him back, he's going to treat you the exact same way he did when you first was talking to him. That man should have treated you right the first time around. So since he messed up his chance, there is no need to continue talking to him. Appreciate me the first time around, because there won't be a second. Just don't be delusional thinking that he changed.
And where is your effort? Every time I hear this, I ask myself how hard it is to be a man.
Her effort was being put into her social media posts where she complained about this guy to no end. She did absolutely nothing to make things work.
As a man, you're expected to bring tangible things to the table. You have to be a provider, successful, capable of taking care of a family, have your life in order, and then also be loving, a good listener, thoughtful, and always making an effort to keep your partner feeling in love. It's a full-time job. If you neglect any of these areas, she'll leave. But the real question here is, what do you bring to the relationship? He doesn't appreciate my value, they say, but he gave you everything you asked for.
That's just it. If a man gives a modern woman everything, oftentimes she's just going to get bored and resent him. If he doesn't give her everything that she asks for, then she's going to get offended and resent him. Men can't win when playing against a woman like that.
Why don't you do the same? Why aren't you the one planning the dates, organizing the trips, or making the effort to prepare something for the relationship? Why can't you take the initiative in making plans for the two of you? Instead, it's always the man's responsibility, and your only contribution is your presence. On top of that, all the expenses fall on him. It's for reasons like this that men are withdrawing from the dating market. You demand so much and give so little. Even planning a dinner, one you won't even pay for, is too much effort for some. That's why we're seeing more and more women hitting the wall, because the wall doesn't forgive.
At the end of the day, guys, men just want a woman who's going to respect him, bring him some peace, and maybe a warm meal every now and again. But these women think that a man must do extra in order to earn that. But anyway, guys, we are going to be leaving today's episode there. As always, don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you are new here. Drop a comment, and I will see you all in the next one. Make sure you take care of yourselves. Peace.